Good afternoon, Whisperers, and welcome to another fabulous episode of Whispers in a Bottle Grown Talk Cocktail Fridays. I am your host, Sonya LaRae, lifestyle relationship counselor, fashion psychologist, holistic health and wellness practitioner. Oh my goodness, Whisperers, it is so good to be back in our safe zone and to birth another dynamic discussion. You know what, guys? I have a slight tickle in my throat this afternoon, so I apologize to all of you, and I hope that I'm coming across clear, not really foggy or anything. You know, Whispers, I always tell you that we're in a new space and place that we are just developing new things and doing great things. And, we always want to make sure that you can join our fabulous community of Whisperers. So in the chat box, we've dropped in there a live link to our newsletter because we would love for you to be a part of the Whisperers Exchange, not just here in our Whisperers Lounge, kicking back with us with your mocktail or your cocktail. But you notice I said with your mocktail or your cocktail because in each and every one of our journals that you receive every week, you get the featured mocktail or cocktail of the episode. And don't you want to be a part of that? So make sure that you subscribe to our fabulous news journal, The Whisperers Exchange, because we are doing some dynamic things in there. You know, Whisperers, I know that I love to answer your questions that are in harmony with our topics, and I stress that you place questions in the chat box that really are in harmony with the discussion because I really want to pour into them and be able to build on our discussion as we go through. And right now, I'm not sure how it is with Podbean. I have to still figure it out because they did tell us that we have an ability to have you all call in and ask your questions. So as we develop and we grow in a few more weeks, we'll probably figure that out and be able to invite you all in to have your questions answered live on air. So with that being said, I've done all the housekeeping. Let's lean into today's powerful topic on the currency of self-worth, building your internal value. So we're going to delve into this. And I like to start all of our discussions off with a clear meaning or definition. But I thought we begin with demystifying. I think that's a great word to use here, or just demystifying the concept first. So the currency of self worth, it represents the intimate or inherent valuation we as people assign to our being. So you see how powerful that is? That's the value that we place on ourselves. Do you have a high value or are you putting yourself at a low currency? So remember, we're going to be leaning into this deeply. And so this is going to require a little introspection. And all this week I've had powerful discussions that have really been building on this. And even from the Millionaires Mindset Network, my community that I've built, the ladies had a deep introspective view that they had to move into as well on our first Lunch and Learn. And then, last week was our first episode that we delved into a real big topic and really getting you to understand the emotional currency. But in that space and place, we had to sit in the power of pausing to be able to see what we needed to work on. So, with that being said, you know, we have to be willing to have that concept or that demystifying that we're going to do for ourselves. So, the currency of self worth is like a representative of the intimate or inherited valuation we assign and what we're going to do with our talents, our values, and the unique essence we bring to the world. So, unlike net worth, so all of you all understand net worth, which is that externally qualified by financial assets, self worth emanates from YOU. Now that's powerful. Because, see, unlike that financial in or those financial assets, no one else is going to be pouring into that bank. There's no 501, there's no company that's going to be building up that worth. It requires you to be able to stand on that and to build that value. And even if you have young people or little people that you are influencing, you are going to want to fortify that bank. You are going to want to fortify that value that others will not come in and erode or deplete it. You know, it is the I want to say it's like our wellspring of confidence, that resilience and authenticity. And it's funny because, last year, 2024, seemed to be all about authenticity, being clear, being transparent, being upfront. 2025 is about abundance and focus and moving things forward. But it's always in the forefront of everybody's mind is authenticity, because we don't want to lean into anything fake. We don't want to be captured by a scam. So that's why it requires of us to do that deep dive. So when this initial currency flourishes, it manifests like a success in every sphere of our lives. It trickles down. That trickle down effect that you hear about, it trickles down in every aspect of your life, business, professional, relationships. It's all through your life. It's like free flowing water, free flowing. So I told you all last week about the spring, and I gave you a beautiful illustration about that, how it flows freely. But then you may go down or you might go upstream a little bit. Let's go downstream a little bit. And all of a sudden you notice that the water is not flowing as free because there's a blockage there. Well, it's the same thing that happens to us. There can be a blockage there, that we don't have that free flow and that currency flowing through us. Whispers, I tell you, this season is powerful. It gets me so excited that I got to kind of slow myself down. And you know what? I even forgot to welcome in our private Zoom room listeners. It's so wonderful to see you all here with us today. And I apologize for not acknowledging you all, and having you here with us is nice. This is your first in here. And so, we're, like I said, I'm just acclimating. But guess what? It's the currency of self-worth that I'm building. I'm getting my legs back under me. That's a beautiful example of it right here, right now. So, Whispers, I always tell you in all of our discussions, I love to give out master keys. So, I hope that you have brought your proverbial keychains so you can, take your master keys with you, because those master keys always allow us to be able to open up the corridors, the hallways, the secret compartments of our hearts and our minds. But those keys are even more powerful with a discussion like this, because those master keys allow us to shut out and to put away the inner and outer noise that may derail us from our greatness. And that's something that we don't want or we need. So that's how powerful the keys are and why I give them to you. So I want to lean into the first of many keys. In this discussion, we're going to have a master key, and we're going to have a secondary or third key even. We're going to have some values that are going to go along with that key. So the first master key is one that we all need, and that's to audit your inner ledger. Let me say it again. You're going to audit your inner ledger. See, much like balancing your financial books, understanding your self-worth requires an honest internal audit. So many of you all are high-level entrepreneurs. Many of you all are C-suite executives, business people. Even if you're housewives or husbands or whatever your professional is, you understand what an audit is. As a matter of fact, many of you all get audited at the end of the year when you have to do your taxes as well. Because there's an audit that happens and that has to go into the checks and balances. It's understanding what has the currency come in, what currency has gone out. So it's the same difference when we're doing the audit on the ledger of our inner selves. We have to check and balance the currency or the waves that are in and out of us. So I want you to take a moment to just do an evaluation. Excuse me, I'm going to get a drink of water real quick. I told you I had a little tickle today. I don't know why, but it's there. How do you speak to yourself? Now, a couple of seasons back, and some of you all have been with me for a while, you know that I gave a powerful discussion on the power of self-talk. And so in that discussion, I told you that it's the inner dialogue that is either empowering or it will sabotage your success. And that's how powerful that is. So that means, are you speaking life over yourself, or do you speak doom and gloom into your heart and your soul? Do you lift yourself up, or do you drag yourself for a couple of miles? Do you make a mistake and all of a sudden you go into, oh, you're so dumb, you're so stupid, how could you be so ridiculous? Or do you say, you know what, that's okay. So what do I need to take away from this to be able to use this as my stepping stone? You're okay. You did all right. Yeah, this was a flub, but that's all right. You got this. You hear the tone and the texture in that? You hear the life that is being purchased and breathed into you? That's how powerful self-talk is. You have to be willing to speak life over yourself, to call greatness into your heart. Not saying that this is an ego move or be ego tripping or anything like that, but it means that you have to put the value there so you can see, feel, hear, and know what it is. That's how powerful that first element is. But then you have to also think about it this way. What narrative do you carry? Are they rooted in fear? Or are they in that fortitude? Meaning, are they upbuilding and empowering to you? Are they feeding your passion? See, whispers, things like this are powerful for us to be able to shift our mindset, to step into a different place and space. Currency. You know, currency has a life to it. It has an electro force to it. So it's drawing us to it. See, many times when people think of currency, they only think of dollar and cents. They don't think of the energy that passes through it. So that's why this is important. So then it makes you think of what values anchor you. What values anchor you? See, that's a self-inventory is aching to reconcile emotional accounts. And it identifies deficits, negative beliefs, or toxic patterns. And it replaces them with affirmations that reinforce your values. Now, how many of you all give yourself affirmations? I work with my clients deeply on this. And as a matter of fact, I give them affirmations. I tell them that they need to put them up on the mirror. They need to have them on their phone. So it fortifies you. Sometimes you can give an affirmation to yourself and you walk away and you forget it that quick because life begins to life. Or as they say, life begins lifing. But the point is, when we have those visualizations, they call us back to mind. They have it that we see it. So when we see it, we feel it, we hear it, we live it. It becomes so tangible that we can even taste it. And those affirmations are almost like as sweet as honey when you speak them over yourself or when you're moving with that integrity. So it becomes a real anchor that fortifies and sinks you down. You think about these huge cruise ships. I mean, they're gigantic. They're like baseball fields. and football feel long, right? But that anchor keeps that ship from going off and just drifting. Or maybe you all have been fishermen and you go out fishing and you drop that anchor. You know that it sinks you right there and you're able to fish and not be panicking that you have drifted out into the ocean. And it's fortify you to be able to sit in that place and space to enjoy your time. So when we do this and we're anchored, it gives us a power in that pausing. It gives us a power that we can sit and we can kind of reframe and look at things. And that audit starts to work in such a powerful way that it removes negatives and it starts building in on the positives. See, Whisperers, do you see how powerful that first master key is? So I want to lean into our second master key. And that's none other than embrace your uniqueness as wealth. Oh, I love that. We live in a world where comparison is currency. Oh, it's almost the beast of it all. Yet, your singularity is your most valuable asset. Let me say it again. Your singularity is your most valuable asset. You have to celebrate your individuality, your talents, your passions, your purpose. See, a lot of times people who knock individuality are afraid of it. Oh, you're just too much, or you're being too this, or will you overshadow that? Because you have a dynamic presence and that you are literally living in a space of abundance and dwelling in a place of purpose. And that you are starting to see and feel that uniqueness is something that is just beautiful. Why do you think that they make one of a kind? You know, I have the privilege of being associated with Couture Fashion Week. And in Couture Fashion Week, there's only one of a kind of that gown. And the detail in that gown, the hand stitching, is what makes it so unique. And you know that no one else is going to have that gown, or you're not going to see who wore it best, because it is couture, unique, one of a kind, valuable. And that's what you are. So it means, here's your secondary keys coming in, that you have to craft a personal manifesto. Ooh, now that's a nice word, right? A personal manifesto. That means that you have to be willing to write down what makes you irreplaceable. And you know, there's a big recording artist that has this song, Irreplaceable. And even she lines it out. What, what, what is all the things that she says in it? And many of the topics that she says that makes her irreplaceable. And don't think that you're the only one, because you're not. The value that you have and all that you are worth is uniquely yourself. So in turn, that means that you have to craft a personal manifesto that is dynamically yours. Whispers, I tell you, this year, I had my clients do something powerful. And many of them do, resolutions every year. And I just was like, I wanted to challenge them to something different, something deeper and bigger. And I requested of all of them to really write their mission statement. See, a mission statement is something so different. A mission statement has clear elements in it. It has uniqueness that is for you yourself. So think about it if you have a brand and their mission statement. Their mission statement is so aligned with everything inside of that brand that it is the tangible feeling that you get as soon as you hear it. As soon as you connect to it, you know that you are valued as their customer or what they are standing on for them to have that unique presence in a whole sea of others that may offer somewhat similar, but they're not them. It's much like myself. I have an agency. My agency is LaPaz Image Consultants. My tagline is where everything is fabulous. And see, in my mission statement, I make it a part of it to let my clients and let those that are looking at us and coming in there know that we are standing there and we are going to give you white glove service. We are uniquely coming in and we're diversifying the way that you look at your personal and professional life. But on the other side of that coin, when it comes to Sonya LaRae, Sonya LaRae has a clear personal manifesto that is truly has clear intention, aim, purpose, direction. I move within that manifesto so seamlessly, and I celebrate what is so uniquely myself. So it also means that I move into the other elements of invest in skills that amplify your uniqueness. See, from personal growth to personal hobbies, those are the ones that sharpen the tools that set you apart. There is something dynamic about each and every one of us that only we can do. Only we can bring into that space and place. And you may be at a 9 to 5, but you may see that they come to you because they know that you are the go-to person for XYZ. And they know that it's going to be done and it's going to be done correctly. That they're not going to have to go and fact check, second check, third check. Oh, wait a minute, rewrite. They know it's going to be done right. So, in turn, that means that you have to go back into that master key and embrace your uniqueness as wealth, your assets. And then it means that you're going to detach from external validation. Now, this is something huge because understand that seeking approval dilutes your worth. And sometimes there are many people that really they go about that they have to have validation on every little thing. They have to be fortified. They have to make sure, oh, is this okay? Did pause. See, your value is inherent, not a contingency upon others' recognition, a contingency plan. But by embracing your distinctiveness, and you transform self-worth into, I want to say, like an unshrinkable foundation for external success. I think a lot of times what happens is because comparison nation is so strong. So when you are doing something so unique and you're uniquely yourself, and you may be that front runner in things, and when you get people that are naysayers or kind of questioning everything, or maybe you don't have the correct support systems in place, then you start doubting yourself. You're not so sure about where you sit or how you stand or what the voice sounds like or what is that, embracing of my uniqueness. It starts to be that you need the validation or you need someone to come in and give the social currency of you are so dynamic. High five. So it means that we have to really sit in this place and space. It means that our manifesto has to be so bold and big that it resonates and vibrates at a decimal that is deafening in our ears. See, whisperers, when you stop seeking external validation, right? You become more self-assured. You become more authentic. See, there's that word again. But one big thing you definitely become is free, which means you are no longer dependent on others' approval to feel good about you. And this is such a powerful feeling, but also, it leads to increased self esteem and a stronger sense of self worth as well. So these are elements that we want to be so attached to. We want to be drawn to this. And I'm not saying that you got to be a loner or you got to alienate yourself or anything like that. But sometimes you have to sit in a place and space to be able to have the quiet, to do the refinement, and to do the necessary work so you can show up as your best self. So you can see these qualities, that you start to understand the currency of self worth, building your internal value. You know, that takes us to our last master key. And the last master key is something that I think a lot of people have to work on. And they have to be willing to put these keys into place correctly. And one of the biggest aspects of this master key is this: you have to cultivate resilient boundaries. And it's funny, all this week in my discussions, many of my sessions that I've had with clients, different things that I've done, this particular key has come up numerous times. Cultivating resilient boundaries. I even told people that two powerful words and two powerful letters that go together perfectly have such power and don't even need to be explained, which is N-O, no. One of the biggest and strongest boundaries that people can have. And I'm going to get into that during this with this key too, because I want to build on these things, that you really have them on your keychain, that you are able to maneuver and to use your master keys with skill. See, it's one thing to have them, but it's another way to know how to use them. So the way you protect your time, the way that you protect your energy, your emotional well-being directly correlates with your self-worth. So the way that you protect your time means that you have to have a clear boundary. The way that you protect your energy is by having a clear boundary. And the way that you protect your emotional and your mental well-being is by having clear boundaries. But when you have those clear boundaries, it also means that you cannot overstep them or stick them in the closet because you're feeling a little pressured, or maybe because you won't stand on those boundaries, or you can't say no. So it has to work on that two-way street. See, strong boundaries are not walls, but rather they're like gates that discern what aligns with your values from what don't. Now, isn't that something? It's not a wall, but a gate. So guess what? That means a gate can swing. It can swing both ways. It can swing open. It can swing closed. So knowing how that gate works and how powerful that gate is and what that gate is going to lock out. Now, see, there's gates that you can close them and lock them as well. That's how powerful boundaries are. So declining what detracts from your worth isn't selfish. It's self-preservation. Ooh, whispers. Now, if that didn't just give you a chill, I don't know what's wrong with you. You got to come back and listen to it. Because it means that it's not selfish. It's self-preservation. That means that I'm going to preserve, I'm going to save, I'm going to store up, I'm going to accumulate my time. I'm going to accumulate my energy. I'm going to accumulate my mental and emotional factors and everything that needs me to be at my highest frequency for myself, that I can be in a place and space of value and not have the withdrawal and the depletion of my value, my internal value. Remember what we're talking about: the currency of self-worth, building your internal. That means inward. That means deep inside of you, the internal makings and parts of you, your heart, your mind, your lungs, how you breathe into this world, what you're saying into yourself, how you're processing things over your life. Ooh, whisperers, I gotta tell you, I've been a firm believer of always speaking positivity over myself, even from a young child. And I share this story with you guys because I tell you all the time, a little transparent about a little bit of everything. And I was a kid that was very focused on things. And I loved, like, my parents, my mom was a hippie and she was just awesome. She allowed me to blossom in ways that most parents don't let their children, that I got to tap into a deep essence of who Sonya really is at a young age. And my father was a famous musician, so he was free spirited, had an open mind, different way of looking at things as well. And so one day, I think I had to be about maybe 7 or 8 years old, and I have green eyes and dark hair. I have black hair. And I remember one day that I was in school and everybody was like teasing me. And a grown up said to me, "Oh, I know you're just mean and evil with those eyes." And I was just stunned. And in my space, in my place of where this little 7 or 8 year old had placed boundaries, I said, I like me. And I think I'm very unique and I like it. And I don't complain about it because God gave me these eyes. I didn't give them to myself. And the person looked at me, the adult, and apologized. But see, whispers, I tell you this because that was my internal value at 7 or 8 years of age. And I was not going to allow that person or those kids to deplete who my parents said, "Sonya, you could be anything you want to be. You can accomplish great things. Dream big. Figure out who you are, where you want to walk, and how you want to walk." But if I allowed them to penetrate and to deplete and wither my value, do you think I would be sitting here today, whispers, having such a powerful discussion like this? Pouring from a vessel, not pouring from the vessel that is here. This is from the bounty that I have. I'm not pouring from here, I'm pouring from reserves. And that's what this is telling us and teaching us, that we have to build this reserve. It's almost like we are building up our vault that is going to be a savings account that is going to be so abundant and full that it's not anything that's going to pass through or penetrate or deplete it. Cultivating resilient boundaries. So for us to develop that quality, it requires of us to take 3 powerful actions on our part. Action. So that means that we have got to do things. We got to put work in. So the first one, of course, is this. Remember I told you? I gave you the 2 letters even. Say no. But I want you to say no without guilt. Ooh. See, declining what detracts from your worth, remember, it isn't selfishness, it's preservation. You may be saying, "Well, how is that so, Sonya? I just gave you beautiful illustrations of that." But just in case if you're still asking me, It allows you to protect your own well-being. It allows you to protect your energy. It allows you to protect your emotions, your mindset, your heart. It's powerful. You know, we're just walking into the new year. Literally, we're just like 17 days into 2025. And this is the time to reevaluate things that aren't serving us. And what is depleting our energy, our mentality, our physically, or emotionals, or emotionally? What is it? But it requires a real look into it. It requires us not to be afraid. Because, see, I had another discussion as fear as a superpower. See, these are discussions that you got to go back and listen to and get your master keys because they work hand in hand with the keys that you receive in discussions like this. So it means that you have to prioritize restorative practices. See, restorative practices means that we're going to refurbish, rebuild, and maybe stock up again. So I always think like when it's restorative, right? A lot of us have kids and some of us go into the snack closet and we got to replenish things. We got to restore things that they've gone through. Maybe your kids have a special drink that they love. They go and they drink up all the Gatorade, or maybe you have coconut water and drink up all the coconut water. You go in to go get yourself a coconut water. There's none. So you have to restore them. So it's the same thing that we have to be willing to do for ourselves. It means that you may have to meditate, maybe journaling, or engage in activities that replenish your inner currency. Maybe that means going and grounding yourself. Now, I live on the East Coast and it's wintertime right now, and I don't see anybody really going outside to stand their feet into the snow and ground themselves. But grounding can also happen if you're in your home. And what that looks like is this. You buy yourself a nice piece of carpet and let it be green because you're going to visualize this. And that green is going to represent grass. Because see, when we ground ourselves outside, we're grounding ourselves out on the grass. Maybe you don't have grass, you have pavement, and it's kind of like standing on beach stone. So maybe you buy you a cobblestone rug, like one of those rugs that have a little more of the beading on it. Because you're going to ground yourself. But as you're doing that, you're going to stand there and you're going to take deep breaths in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And you're going to allow all the negative energy to pass through and go. And you're not going to focus on it. You're going to focus on the positive energy. And as you breathe deep in, you are going to say, I am restoring myself. I appreciate myself. And I value who I am. Now, how powerful is that? How restorative is that to your heart and to your mind? Whisperers, I'm telling you, these master keys are so dynamic. I'm telling you, as a person, I use these keys in my day-to-day life as a therapist even. That's why I can pour into them so with a passion, because I know they work. I know what it takes. And if you need support, I tell you constantly, my calendar is always open. Tap on it. Book yourself a consultation. It's a free 30-minute consultation. Imagine what you can get in 30 minutes with sitting one-on-one with me. But doing the necessary work is what it really takes. That means that it takes the investment into self to be able to have the currency of self-worth and build upon your internal worth and your internal value. See, I'm going to keep it going. I'm going to keep it resonating and vibrating at that higher decimal for you. That you get to connect with it. Because that's what it takes, that we connect with it. That it starts to really become a habit and really get into the frontal lobe so we can really call it back up. It's important to surround ourselves with individuals that even help us and challenge our mindset and build on our bandwidth. So if you have people that are not challenging you or building you or pushing you to do better or let's go, we got this. I'm going to tell you guys something. I have a dynamic publicist. His name is Trey. He's so cool. I like him. I think of so much of him. But one thing is that he pushes in such a creative space and place for me. And it's like, let's go, let's do it. And it makes me want to make sure that we got the right things on our page and doing things and building and bringing powerful discussions in here. Because those are the people that I want to resonate and vibrate with. When I'm in my agency and I'm working with those that are working inside of my brand with me, I work with dynamic energy. Nelson Neerman is my partner, my best friend. He believed in my dream and my focus and everything before even I believed in it 110%. And we are like, let's go. We got this. Prior to my mom passing away only 3 years ago, my mother was my biggest supporter. She was my business partner. She was my manager. She was the wind beneath my wings. She was the air that got breathed into Whispers in a Bottle. So I must keep people at a frequency that is even higher than what I'm vibrating at. So I can show up. So I can be dynamic, so I can breathe life in, so I can encourage, so I can build up, so I can pivot and change. Because that's what it's about, Whispers. That's what we want in our lives. That's why we're here. What name are we making for ourselves? Internally, not externally. What name are you making for yourself? What value are you building? Or is it value that is eroding? Please reevaluate. Don't be afraid. It's scary sometimes to look inside in that internal deep look. And there are some things in doorways that are creepy and that we got to really take a deep look at. But that's when you must get the right support. There is no reason that you can't get the support. Don't say, well, we don't do therapy. There's no such thing as that. There's no such thing as that. Because therapy helps so many. But what therapy does is it gives you a stepping stone into your greatness, a stepping stone into being able to work with these master keys of cultivating resilience and building boundaries, prioritizing and restoring your practices, sounding out all these things and having a sound foundation of people that are going to enrich you and build upon things with you. It also goes back to your first master key of auditing your inner ledger, embracing your uniqueness as wealth. That's how dynamic it is. That's how powerful it is, Whispers. So if you're not surrounding yourself with people that are raising that frequency, meaning this is where they are stimulating you, audit that. It doesn't mean that you're just going to throw them in the trash or anything like that. It just means like right now, I have got to move with people that have more integrity. I have got to move with people that are going to vibrate and build and help me to grow. You know, I love discussions like this. I love them. And I tell you, season 10 is, whoo, I'm telling you, this season right here that we are in right now, this is powerful. This is a powerful, dynamic season that we are in. And I really could go on and on about just building our self-worth and how precious this currency really is and how you have to possess it. You know, it determines not only how you show up for yourself, but it also impacts the way that we show up in our settings outside of ourselves, meaning how you show up in your family, how you show up in your business, how you show up day to day or impacting others that you come into, encounter with. So it requires action on our part. So as I get ready to close our discussion out today, I really want to urge you to reflect on the wealth that resides within you. And if you notice that it's not where it's supposed to be, or maybe it's lower than where you want it to be, begin to value it and to really nurture the things that are going to build that frequency up, that is going to really make an impact on your heart and your mind. That the currency of self-worth begins to build and to accumulate in your internal value. Whispers, this has truly been a powerful discussion that I've enjoyed. And I love being here, and I'm thankful that you give me your life seconds, because you could be anywhere, but you chose to be here with me, and I thank you for that. And I also want to make sure that if you haven't subscribed to our fabulous newsletter, please make sure that you do so. It's called the Whispers Exchange. And there's always a live link in the description box of our episodes, as well as if you like to follow us on Instagram at whispersinabottle_podcast, please come over and follow us. We're doing some dynamic things. We're building some things. And if you would like to book me as a speaker on one of your shows or at an event, please feel free to connect with our publicist. His name is Trey, and it's Trey the Glue. And you can find him also on Instagram as well. And a link is always in every description that you can connect with him there too. So with this being said, everyone, it's my pleasure to say that you have been listening to Whispers in a Bottle Grown Talk Cocktail Fridays. This is a live show that comes on every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on our brand new platform, Podbean. Thank you for having us. I am your host, Sonya LaRae. I'm a lifestyle relationship counselor, fashion psychologist, holistic health and wellness consultant, and I look forward to us being back here in our safe zone again next week. All right, guys, have a beautiful weekend.